Hey everybody, welcome to today's daily market commentary. Hope everybody had a great trading day. We finally got some good movement in our overall market, so some pretty nice pullbacks. For those of you new to the channel, we do the same thing every day. We try to look at the same 8 to 12 futures markets, and we leave the lines on the chart so that you can see how positions evolve. And really, we're going to have some great examples today of a losing trade and then also of a winning trade, but they both followed the plan, and that's really the key. So I'm going to start with this S&P trade, which was a losing position, and I'm not afraid of losers. You've got to be okay with losers and understand how they work. Now, very quickly, last night we came into the area of entry on this little confirmation entry out of here, and it kind of worked out for a little tiny move out of this range. I will tell you, I did not take it, and frankly, last night I was recording a podcast with my wife, and I was looking at the market, and I forgot to tweet out that I definitely didn't want to take it and was going to cancel this particular trade. So this one did not meet an entry for me. The reason I didn't was because I didn't like the fact that we had chopped around above it for so long. As a matter of fact, I was looking at it. I think we were sitting down at the computer at about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and it was right about here, and I just wasn't a big fan of it, didn't like it, meant to send out a tweet that I'd canceled it, that I was no longer interested in it. But I didn't want to delete the line so everybody could see it. So part of the reason I didn't like it is because we chopped around so long in front of it. So I'm going to remove that one for sure. Now, this one down here, absolutely thought this level was going to work out. Really felt pretty strong about this level. Felt like this was a really good point to get in and feel a little bit of a bounce. Mind you, we're on a 15-minute chart. Look at how price came into this area, chopped around for literally one bar, and then just completely fell apart before bouncing and rallying back up. And so this is an example of the S&P just the level just failing. And there will be times where levels are just going to fail. And that, that one turned out to be about a 2.5 point loss. So 2.5 points in the ES was a little bit of a loss, but so let me remove this one, and I'm going to remove this this drawing. And I'm certainly not afraid to talk about losses, especially when we've got the Nasdaq level. So the Nasdaq level, this is the area we've had on the chart for weeks, and we talked about this as a great opportunity where we had this old resistance, which could become new support, and price came screaming into the level, hit there, and now we're going up. So at this point, we are at about our opposing level. This is the time to take some money off the table. If you are out of this or in this thing, maybe take a little bit off the table. At the very least, move your stop up to break even. So this thing, I think, could very easily continue to run higher. This is a short-term short that we had put in probably 2 days ago. Still valid, but if you're still in the long, you might not want to take money off the table at this area because there's no selling above us to stop us from going higher. Today could have just been one of those days where it was just a good day to get back in to previous positions. So I've got to remove both of those areas right now in the S&P and in the Nasdaq, as I'm not going to use those going further. So now let's go into the S&P and look if there is a level for us to pay attention to. So I'm going to move to this 4-hour chart. Now we still certainly have other areas below that are of interest in the S&P. However, if you notice, we've put in a lower swing high and a lower swing low from this pivot high area right here. So 2 consecutive lower swing lows. Also 2 consecutive lower swing highs. That's actually the definition of a downtrend here on this 4-hour chart, with 2 consecutive lower swing lows, 2 consecutive lower swing highs. On the daily, certainly nowhere near a downtrend. Matter of fact, on the daily, today's is quite the reversal candlestick. So how do I play this if it's quite the reversal candlestick, even though I could be in a downtrend? Well, what I'm going to do is on this daily chart, I'm going to put a line right above here. Now this is a hammer candle on the daily chart, so we're going to put a line at 25.67. Now I'm going to cut down back to my hourly time period. So what I've got here essentially is a long opportunity if we get above this area right here. So I believe there's a long opportunity if you can get above 25.67. I don't know that we're going to get above 25.67 though, because we're putting in lower swing highs and lower swing lows. So as it stands right now, I'm not really willing to do anything unless we get above 25.67. I'm going to be a buyer. Now, there is a little bit of a stalling point just above there, right in here, to be made aware of. Now, that level has been, that's an area where we had some interfighting, if you will, between buyers and sellers, and right in here we may see price slow down and stall a little bit. So even if you do get long out of this 25.67, you're going to be really quick to take profits because of this little area right here. Just kind of keep that one in mind. But I believe that there's a better chance we're going to come down, and you're going to look at one of these levels as a chance to get long again somewhere a bit lower. In the Nasdaq, you got a very similar kind of setup. Looking at this on the daily, you'll see that same long lower wick. That long lower wick, that hammer candle reversal pattern, if you will. We get up above there, that could be a chance to get long. So I wouldn't get long unless we go above that small time frame level. Okay. Crude oil. So looking at crude oil, unfortunately, still have not come into anywhere near our level. Yesterday, we talked about how we're not going to try to short this thing. There's just not enough information for me yet. So I'm going to leave crude B for the time being. Gold, I'm also going to leave B. Gold, we had that short up here in gold. It's now we're all the way down here at 1275. I'd be interested to hear if anybody is holding on from that top that we had looked at weeks ago. But as it stands right now, there's nothing up here that I'm truly, madly, deeply in love with. That was a song from the 90s, by the way. But I do believe that we've got a downward trend, right? I've got a lower swing low and lower swing highs. We've come into this area here. If I look at this and go really big on the bigger scale, on the weekly chart, we are definitely showing a weakening of our momentum, right? We had that strong move up. Let me throw some momentum indicators on here real quick. We definitely are seeing that momentum slide off here on the weekly chart. When I look at it on the daily, you'll see that I've actually got lower swing highs on my momentum indicator. So momentum indicators what they are really good to tell me is what's the momentum of the overall stock doing, or excuse me, of the actual contract doing. But I'm not a big study guy, but I think it's important to use the tools at your disposal when you have them. So nothing in here that I'm falling for. You might get a little reversal here. I'd actually be more interested in playing a breakdown if we get below this area here. So I'm more interested in a breakdown below 1276 than I am about trying to catch the reversal. So let's go take a look at our bonds and looking at our bonds and our currency markets. So looking at the ZN, which is our 10-year Treasury note, we've got a little bit of sideways, strong drop in price. That little bit of sideways is an area where we had some resistance, old support there back in the day, new resistance right up in here. Now this little bit of a stalling point in there on the breakdown could be a chance to get short again. I like this one up here still a bit better. In the Aussie, so hopefully you guys listened and paid attention in the Aussie. So the Aussie today, if you go back and review yesterday's video, we talked about short the Aussie below this level. This was a breakout trade. Let me know in the comments if you're able to short that one. But the Aussie worked out extremely well as we have been looking at this line and price, bouncing around before that line, before then just absolutely falling through it. You should still be short. I would be looking at aggressively moving my stop down into this range to lock in some profit. And if I get a higher swing high, then I might be out. But, move your stop down aggressively to lock in some profits. So hopefully you caught that Aussie trade. The euro, still nothing in here that's anywhere near where I'm looking to get in. I will say, however, the Canadian dollar, we had this little short-term level. Let me go down to the 15-minute chart. Remember, if it's in purple, it's a small time frame opportunity. We talked about this as a very small time frame potential opportunity in the Canadian dollar, and in the overnight hours, met a little bit of an entry and then got a very strong move away. So hopefully you're able to capitalize on that before price came screaming back out. So you got a pretty good little move. You got about a 4-to-1 reward to risk out of this entry if you were able to take that small time frame level. Remember, when you got smaller time frame levels, you've got to take your profits more aggressively. So the Canadian dollar level, now obviously this is not going to be worth anything going forward, so we're going to remove it. But hopefully you're able to catch both the Canadian dollar and the Aussie dollar as quality opportunities. Last two, let's look at Nat Gas and Great British Pound. The Nat Gas, we have come back into our gap fill buying opportunity area. So right now we've got this little gap fill buying opportunity area. If you're in this thing right now, I would say your first target's up here at 29, call it 29.45. So fairly tight. I'd be moving, but the fact that we just got a little bounce off of here, I would be moving that stop up to break even, but it is indeed working in our favor right now. And then the Great British Pound level, we have a little bit of basing here, a drop, and this one completely failed miserably on the small time frame. And once again, sometimes that's just going to happen. So we've got the Great British Pound trade that completely failed. If you took that small time frame, sorry, it did not work out so well. My bad. But our second level here, which is a confirmation level, hit, and now we're chopping around in there. The chop that we're getting in here really makes me cautious about it, especially because the other currencies have dropped so dramatically. I would want the British pound to be falling as well, and because it's not, if you're in this thing, be very, very tight on your stop and manage it accordingly. I would definitely, if it does start to move down, start to look at this area right in here as potential profit objectives, 13.22. If you do stay in it, I'm very hesitant that it's going to come down from there. But it's okay to take these small losses, right? This is not a really big area. This is not a really big area in the pound. When we look at this, level. And that's really what we want to do, is we want to find those small areas. And if we take a small loss, we take a small loss. But a day like today, it really only takes one good trade to make your week, right? And between the short in the Aussie right here, as well as the long in the Nasdaq right here, it should more than make up for losses that you would take, as well as that short in the Canadian dollar, which was a pretty good one as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for your feedback. If there's something you want me to take a look at, please leave in the comment section below. I'd like to hear it, and tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your buddies. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon. See you.